Good morning to you. This is the front page review on Voice of the People 96.1 FM. My name is Gesiere Agua. Today like this, I've already fought, I've fought battles. Oh, okay, it's not a thing of a joke at the moment because why do Nigerians like to defraud other Nigerians? We know that the economy is biting hard on every single person. Now, I'll give you a scenario. This morning, I stopped by a particular filling station to buy fuel, and this particular field attendant decided not to scrape out the when you're trying to reload for somebody else, you would change the meter to 00, right? You would restart from the beginning to 00. Now this individual decided that he was going to cheat me of 5,000 naira. Do you know what it means to remove 5,000 naira out of the field that somebody is buying? Do you know what it means? Feel that is 617 at NMPC filling station. You are now telling me that you want to remove 5,000 naira out of it. So this individual started the tank at 5,000 something, and I was trying to pay. I was trying to pay for the fuel while somebody else was trying to put the fuel into the car. But I was with someone in the car, and that person was watching to see if this fuel attendant will restart, only for me to ask him, "Well, have you started?" He said yes, that is already 5,000 naira now. Omo, I want Chris because why will you do that to somebody? Why will you do that? We always complain about the politicians. We always talk about the fact that they do different things. They steal just a stroke of their pens. But us in our different locations, we are defrauding our fellow Nigerians. Because what will you use that 5,000 naira to do? You could have just put my fuel for me. This early morning, you want to already defraud somebody. You want to steal from someone. If I just carry gun, more no say na this thing you won't do. Anyway, I'm not even this show is not for ranting, but we need to be holding ourselves accountable. You talk about the fact that other politicians, people are stealing from you. Politicians are doing this and that, but you in your own small, tiny job that you're doing, you are stealing. You are stealing consistently. So when you now get to that position, are politicians not Nigerians? Are they not everyday Nigerians that became politicians? So the one that you are starting with, the 5,000 naira that you are stealing, only God knows whether it's 5 billion, 50 billion, 500 billion that you go and steal when you are given the position. Anyway, let's start because the headlines this morning, there's a lot of interesting headlines. The court has imposed travel ban on Hadi Sirika and his daughter on the 2.7 billion naira fraud. Also, the Senate okayed the death penalty for drug traffickers. Senate okays death penalty for drug traffickers. Also, the president has appointed new MDs and CEO of the Ogun-Osun River Basin Development Authority, and the Clerk of Rivers Assembly, Emeka Amadi, has disowned the pro-governor Siminalayi Fubara's faction of the Assembly. The clerk said the three members of the Assembly loyal to Fubara, Honorable Victor Oko Jumbo, Honorable Sokari, Good Boy Sokari, and Honorable Adolphus Timothy were suspended on October 30th, 2023 and cannot lay claim to be officers of the house. Or more, the drama is still unfolding. We also see a bill which seeks to increase the salaries and allowances of judicial officers. It was submitted, it scaled second reading at the Senate yesterday. The resolution of the Senate followed its consideration and debate on a bill titled "A Bill for an Act to Prescribe the Salaries, Allowances and Fringe Benefits of the Judicial Office Holders in Nigeria," and four related matters as well. The House of Reps also has directed the CBN to withdraw its circular directing banks to start deducting a cybersecurity levy on all electronic transactions from Nigerians. Well, we'll see how that plays out. The Kaduna State Governor, Senator Uba Sani, has announced plans to relocate. We talked about this yesterday. And the Speaker of the pro-Wike faction of the Rivers State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Martin Amewule, on Thursday raised an alarm that the governor was plotting to demolish the official quarters of the lawmakers. The drama is still unfolding in Rivers State. We'll get to all the details in just a moment. But first, let's check out who said what in the news. Well, we're seeing the Rivers State crisis deepening, and Ann Keo Briggs, a human rights activist, was talking about it in the news
I did
yesterday.
say at that time that the situation in Rivers State is far from over. We're very much aware that there are 8 points in the document that the president gave to the governor of Rivers State to sign, and the governor of Rivers State signed this document in his words, for the sake of peace. Now, if anybody, in our opinion, is breaching any of those 8 points, bearing in mind that the governor has more or less carried out all, if not out of 8, may have just left out 1. That 1 is to go and represent the budget to the House members who left the PDP party and went to APC, and by law they are no longer representing anybody in Rivers State. Now, I need to very quickly look at this. One of the points is that the courts, instituted in the courts by the governor, should be withdrawn. He did. All impeachment proceedings initiated against the governor should be dropped immediately. Well, we're all very much aware that that is very far from the truth. So the fact that we're back again discussing the impeachment, the call for the impeachment of the governor by Tony Okocha, whose leadership of the APC in Rivers State is in court, and also who is claiming to be the chairman of APC in Rivers State, is also the NDDC representative of Rivers State people. Now, there is something really funny going on in the politics of Rivers State, where there is just no law and order anymore.
Well, that is what Miss Anne Keel had to say about the politics in Rivers State and what's brewing right there. We also have a conversation here by Dr. Chukwemeka Ujam. He's an IT security strategy expert, talking about the fact that it's not cheap anywhere in the world to fund cybersecurity, and we just have to look at the positives.
But as you're getting used to that pain, you're also getting used to the deliverables of the positive effect of having a robust cybersecurity architecture in the country. Mind you, it is also administered by a board, so there's an advisory council. Yes, it's domiciled within the NSA's office, but there's a council which is best practice. In the UK, there's a cybersecurity advisory council.
Well, so when you said that there's best practice, you say this is not peculiar to Nigeria.
No, it's not. It's not. The imposition of a levy is not peculiar to Nigeria. Our neighbors, Ghana, have done it. Some African countries have done it. But even in the EU, some of these taxes are masked under the digital services taxes that many countries do apply to certain transactions. So it's not new. It's not novel to Nigeria, not at all. It's just that it's just been introduced now in this country, and it's necessary.
All right. Let's also check out a conversation that was had between the former SDP governorship candidate of Rivers State, Precious Elekima. He talked about the fact that the greatest gift God gave Rivers State is Governor Fubara. Let's listen to what he had to say.
When you say how concerned, whether you're from Rivers, whether you live in Rivers, whether you live in Abuja, everybody is concerned. And Dr. Odili left office. And with all what happened, he never disturbed the governance of Rotimi Amechi. Amechi left office. No matter the circumstance, what happened, he did not allow anything to bother him to disturb the governance of Wiki. Ada George left office. He did not bother to disturb Odili. Okilo left office. He did not disturb Ada George. So there needs a question to be asked. Somebody left as governor. He held sway for 8 years. Whether you want to call him from Idi Amin to whatever you want to call him. But nobody talked about him. He did everything the way he liked. And he left office. He brought in Fubara by himself because he virtually ran everybody out of town. And so if for any reason he discovered that Fubara is not playing according to what he wants, he has a fine job here as FCC minister. He would have concentrated on the job here and allowed Fubara to make his mistakes and correct himself. But I think it's much more than arrogance. Say, I own this state. And for some of us who watch this drama go on and he assuming these things, and we have been part of government, and we know that, you know, he just wants to expose himself to Nigeria. Because at the point now they ask him, who are you? So who are you? So who?
The benefit?
All right. Well, that was the voice of the former SDP governorship aspirant candidate of the SDP in Rivers State, Precious Elekima. And he talked about the fact that when Wike left Rivers State, there was a 95% difference in the state, and that's on the positive side. Well, we'll try to connect with Mr. Rufai Oseni at this point so we can get more details on this issue of the Senate approving death penalties for drug offenders, also looking at every single thing that has played out in Rivers State as well. Then we're also seeing Hadi Sirika talking about the fact that he said even the prophets went to prison. So he himself will not be any different. Really, really interesting. I wish I had the audio. I was trying to get it, but time would not allow me to do that. But I wish I had the audio to send that to you, to play for you to listen and hear exactly what he had to say. But we'll be connecting with Rufai Oseni at this point so we can get more details in the news this morning. Good morning, Mr. Rufai. Welcome. This is the Front Page Review. Good morning.
Morning, Jesse. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you so much. All right, let's start with Mr. Hadi Sirika and the statement he made concerning the fact that even the prophets went to prison. They're comforting themselves, him and his daughter, in a video that was trending all over X yesterday. He was talking about the fact that, yes, he was ready to go to prison just like the prophets. What exactly is your take on this? Because he seems a bit unrepentant.
Wait, has he convicted himself already? Let him go through the court process now. Why is he talking prison already? Or is he so sure he did it? If he's so, maybe he's telling us something we don't know. Because they are still going through a court process. You've not been sentenced. You've not been found guilty. And you're saying even the prophet went to prison. So are you trying to be a martyr? And I think that's away from the facts. The question is, the prophet didn't teach us to be corrupt. Did the prophet teach us to be corrupt? If you say the prophet went to prison, did he go to prison for embezzlement and corruption? I think we should start putting a religious dimension to everything. All right? Let's have integrity, some level of integrity. Don't steal, don't take what doesn't belong to you. These are basic facts about life.
All right, Mr. Rufai, something really interesting happened to me this morning. I was trying to get fuel, and the attendant was trying to cheat me. He refused to clear what was there before and just started selling fuel from the price that was already there at that time. And it really upset me because when you talk about corruption, this is how it starts. We always complain about the politicians, we always complain about how they are defrauding Nigerians and all of that. But if you're not what does the Bible say? If you're not faithful in the small, in the little, how will you be faithful when you have more?
But you can get the name of that attendant and report them to the appropriate court. Pure and simple. I think there's a department. Formerly, I think it used to be DPR or something that will handle that. But I think with the restructuring of the department now, the department that deals with downstream regulation, you can report them to that department, and definitely something will be done to that.
All right. Okay, moving on to this issue of the coastal highway. The reps are to summon Edu, Umahi, and the AGF on this particular issue of the coastal highway, 15 trillion naira Lagos Calabar coastal highway project. I mean, we always see the House summoning and probing, but we don't ever get to the crux of the matter. We don't ever see the end of the probing.
Mostly because their summons are just oversights. There's no, they can't really concretely do anything justiciable. Their summon is just to throw light to what is happening. So, but they have also said that project did not even pass through it didn't pass through the National Assembly, and those are the questions we should ask. Why was the project of that colossal amount not passed through the National Assembly, and what is really going on, as regards a project like that? So, I think these are questions we should ask to be able to get to the root of all these matters. And it just speaks volumes about how our systems are run in this country and what we represent. Sometimes we don't do things right, and we're quite very corrupt.
But Mr. Rufai, why the hurry? Why the hurry? Why?
I mean, that was the question we've asked. It's part of the hurry that they even make them do a proper ESA, environmental impact assessment, EIA, and many other faulty parts of that project. I mean, we've seen all of these things times without number. We've asked these questions. But government has tried to say, oh, let's move ahead with it and all of that. And the minister, so I'm happy, let the reps. And if they throw them some questions, we have to ask him. I've posted those questions on my ex many times. But when I read up those questions, why was there no proper tender bidding process? Why is that it was only iTech that was picked? Is that it's only iTech that has the capacity for such a project? So there are many questions to be asked.
All right, moving on to another story this morning. The Senate has okayed a death penalty for drug traffickers here in the country. They approved the death penalty for dealers and importers of things like cocaine, heroin, and other hard drugs into the country.
I don't think the death penalty cuts it. I think what we should do is make it difficult for them to be able to travel and track the cartel. Is it not big men that own the drug trafficking cartel? Not big men that own the heroin cartel. So that's
Hello?
Are you hearing me?
Mr. Rufai, you're breaking up. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
All right, go ahead.
We know the people that are in this cartel, but they can't be people that are really heading most drug cartels are big men in society. So let's go after them first. Not that now issue death penalty and then catch their smaller subordinates that they will not be able to review. I subscribe to all of that.
So while we are on this case of death penalty for dealers and importers of cocaine, what about other crimes here in Nigeria? What about fraud? Why can't we look at stiffer penalties for fraud? Because we've seen that politicians think that they can always get away with it as far as they are in favor with the party in power. They feel like, okay, we can get away with it. After all, there's a presidential pardon and all of that. There's so many mechanisms, technicalities that these people use to defraud Nigerians and get away with it. So why can't we have stiffer penalties for things like that? All right, we'll try to reconnect with Mr. Rufai at this point. The network is really, really, really bad. We'll try to connect once again. Hello.
Earlier we started.
Hello, Mr. Rufai.
Can you hear me?
The line is really breaking. Let me call you on a regular call. All right, we'll try to reconnect so we can get conversations like this. Because when you have politicians who think that they can get away with stealing monies, after all, their friends are in power and they'll help them to get away with it. Some of them, their positions are even vacant. They leave it vacant and wait for them to, when they're done serving their term, they come back and get into that position once again. We need to stop things like that. Hello?
So the earlier we need to do things better, the better it is for all of us. It's because we're not ready to applicate to, the stimulus plan. That's why they're getting it. Pure and simple.
Oh, Mr. Rufai, we've had situations where some of them who were serving in the National Assembly, their seats were kept vacant until they were done serving whatever terms they served, and then they came back to that seat. So this issue of having corrupt politicians, of politicians who have been fingered in one way or the other, still in office, it's a problem, because when you've identified the bad eggs and you've refused to remove them from power, you're just further sending a message to Nigerians that, okay, it's okay for you to do this as far as you have the backings of whichever godfather.
That's the corruption that is pervasive, and that's why we must get rid of that. Because if we don't stop that system where some people are favored more than the other, their lives are going to move forward.
All right. Moving on to cybersecurity this morning, we saw the House of Representatives directing the CBN to withdraw its circular directing banks to start deducting a cybersecurity levy on all electronic transactions from Nigerians. What's your take on this development?
In fact, there's been a lot of more development there. This President Fallon and Senator Leader to say that it's not even supposed to be taken from the citizens, it's supposed to be taken from the banks and other people out there, not really from the citizens. So, and they're saying that there was a misinterpretation of the act itself and all of that. So I think the CBN needs to look at the cybersecurity levy all over again, and let's really get the correct truth about what is really happening there and who it's supposed to be taken from.
All right. So we know that other countries do pay the cybersecurity levy. However, I'm not sure if it's the citizens themselves who bear the brunt of it, or it's banks or companies who bear the brunt of it.
It's supposed to be the banks, the back end operators and all of that. It's a levy that's supposed to be taken out of their profit share. That's what Mr. Fallon and the act said.
All right, let's move on to another story. We saw the president resume office yesterday, and he said Nigeria is on track to attain food security. The question this morning is, the president spoke in Niger State during the groundbreaking ceremony of a particular road construction in the LGA of the state, and he was represented by someone, and he talked about the fact that there's going to be that Nigeria will be self-sufficient in food production before leaving office. And the question this morning is, why do we have people in power always making statements? Why do they talk and not do? Why do we not have actions speaking louder than words, especially in our politics here in Nigeria?
We believe so much in optics to hold ourselves accountable. And if you have a country where you believe so much in optics, where people are just talking and showing and they are not doing, and then you can't have a country that will grow. That's why people believe in going to just take pictures in school for renovation of building, rather than fixing the building themselves and ensuring that we have teachers and teachers in school.
All right, let's look at the fact that Army has exited Okwama community. I don't know if that's a welcome development at this point.
I don't think that's a welcome development. I think that's an indication of the sadness Nigeria has become. That Army can take over a community like that, perpetrating a lot of crime against the community and all of that. And they say they were carrying out an operation there. Currently, I see the cases in court, where people of Okwama are trying to seek their rights and all of that. And you have a system where that nobody wants to be accountable. So it's just sad. It's an reflection of the sadness in our country as we speak, and it's something we should all cry about.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Rufai, for your time. I think that's all we have this morning. Thank you so much.
Bless you.
All right. To you listening, thank you so much for listening to VOP 96.1 FM. We'll go ahead and pay some bills. When we come back, we'll be speaking with Mr. Larry to do a little bit of justice to some of these headlines this morning, because it's really, really interesting when you see politicians make statements like, okay, we know that even the prophets went to prison, and those that did it, those that have gone to the prison, they have finished their sentence already, haven't they? Whatever Allah says. This is what he said to his daughter while he was comforting her, at the court yesterday. And the question a lot of Nigerians have been asking is, did the prophet go to jail for stealing or misappropriation? Some people have also asked, is that how the prophet has, is this what the prophet has taught you, to take what does not belong to you? Even though we know that the case is still in court, he hasn't been sentenced he's not been found guilty yet. But based on that particular conversation, it sparked a lot of reactions from Nigerians. A lot of people have said, okay, this is because we're living in a lawless country. It's to say we have working laws in Nigeria. If we had working laws in Nigeria, some people won't have the guts to make some of these statements. So check that out and get what Mr. Larry Oguego has to say about it in just a bit. Stay tuned. You're welcome back. This is still the front page review on VOP 96.1 FM. We're still talking headlines this morning. We're checking out some of the trending stories and seeing how they affect us as Nigerians. Right here, we'll be checking out some conversations with Mr. Larry this morning. Good morning, Mr. Larry, and welcome.
Good morning. I hope you're having a good day.
Yes, I am. All right, let's start with the statement made by Mr. Hadi Sirika. I mean, we heard a lot. We saw the video that trended on social media yesterday where he was consoling his daughter and telling her that, well, even the prophet went to prison. Even prophets have gone to prison. Those that went, haven't they finished their sentences already? Whatever Allah says is what we will do. That's what he said in that particular video. And it sparked a lot of conversations, right? A lot of Nigerians have been asking, well, did the prophet go to jail for stealing or misappropriations? What's your take on this?
There's something we call rationalization. There are sometimes when you have situations on your hands that you can't explain, you look for what appears to be plausible excuses, plausible reasons for explaining dumb situations. The prophet may have gone to jail, but the circumstance may be different. A lot of people were at Robben Island for different crimes. At the same time, Mandela was there for trying to save the nation. People go to jail for different reasons. When Mandela was in jail, the whole world was actually screaming that you should release this man. He was a prisoner of conscience. There are different kinds of prisoners. But there are some people who go to jail because they deserve to be in jail. It is for those people that the jails are built in the first place. But then he was doing the job of a father to console the daughter. However, it's sad that based on the allegations, which have not been proven yet, yes, it looks as if the ministry was some kind of family business. But we're waiting for them to successfully exonerate themselves, and then we're also waiting for EFCC to prove the allegations. The attitude that we must personally gain from public service is one of the worst problems we have as a nation. It's my time to chop syndrome. It's our turn syndrome. Even communities will host anybody who gets political appointment, and then the course of the hosting remind the person that it's our turn to chop. We have to stop it. I am not saying that he chopped. I'm just saying that it appears to be a tradition. And I thank God for EFCC. They may not be doing everything we expect them to do, but at least we now have snippets of information. Yes, they may not get all the convictions. They may not be pursuing everybody we expect them to pursue, but sometimes I ask myself, what if there was no EFCC at all? First of all, how do we get to hear about these billions? And then secondly, what level of stealing will be going on? Because there are some people who, for the fear of even the embarrassment, may tame themselves a little. So yes, we may not be where we want to be, but we're not where we used to be. At least we have talking points. We talk about it. Oh, they said he stole this billion. The person said I didn't. And then we get to hear that somebody used maybe much more money to print much less money. And we ask ourselves, only in Nigeria. And so I think it's good that we have the EFCC. Let's just keep hoping that they will improve and get convictions and go after everybody, whoever the person may be. But my dear minister, good people don't go to jail for the bad reasons. So I don't think that is proper consolation. What we should do moving forward, everybody, the minister, the former minister, myself, yourself, is to just keep our hands clean so that even if someone puts us in jail for the wrong reasons, the world will rise up in arms so that we'll be released.
All right. So now there's a new development in Rivers State. This Rivers State crisis, it doesn't seem to be ending anytime soon. Yesterday, we saw a video surface on the internet of Fubara storming the State House of Assembly, and the pro-Wike supporters he was talking about the fact that, well, Fubara went there to demolish, that he's talking about demolishing some quarters in the assembly quarters in the state. And the governor came out to talk about the fact that is the assembly quarters not part of his property? Is there anything wrong in going to check how things are going on there? I mean, there are developments in that particular part of the assembly and all of that. So we're seeing a lot of drama coming out. Some people have also said that the 3 pro Fubara supporters were suspended from the House of Assembly, in, I think that was sometime last year, October or so, sometime last year. So they have no right to even bring in a factional leader of the State House of Assembly. So there's a lot of drama that is playing out in the state, and it's just become a mess. It's really, really a mess at this point. Shouldn't the president prevail upon Wike at this point I don't know what it is that he wants in the states. He's already a leader in the FCT. Why can't he concentrate? I mean, we've seen projects here and there in the FCT. Why can't he concentrate? I mean, is that not enough?
This is not a political battle anymore, in my opinion. I think it's an ego battle now. For Wike, it's an ego battle. He doesn't want to back off, not because he can't, but I think because he thinks that he has to win the battle willy-nilly. And that is the challenge we have most of the time. There are 2 battles that people will fight that are very difficult to resolve. The battle of ego and the battle of ego. Both of them are EGO. The first one is money. The second one is our ego. Very difficult battles. Pride. Incidentally, there's also money involved in this particular ego battle, because the person who wins the battle controls the pulse of River State. So there's a financial dimension to this battle. And then there's the ego, the pride dimension. So what they are doing is that they are fighting Ogo-Ego. That is the battle of money or the battle of ego, whichever one you choose. But that's on a lighter note. But the truth of the matter is that I think we shouldn't allow this drama to go on for much longer. And for the people who are crying that Wike wants to that Fubara wants to demolish, well, I don't expect Fubara to continue with the demolition exercise. People who can't stand heat shouldn't be in the kitchen. You see, when there is a war, bullets fly. And the truth is that they are fighting a war. You can't go and threaten a man and expect the man to just be looking at you. Meanwhile, the man just told you that the days of peacemaking and dragon is over. Now it's both for bass and tit for tat. So if you threaten to impeach him, naturally you expect him to fight back. That is why suddenly we have the other faction all over. And some people will argue that, that these other guys are not even members of the House because they have vacated their seats. Some people will say, that the court has not said so. The others will say, no, now the Constitution said that if you decamp, that you have automatically... It's a big mess. It's a conundrum of some sort, but we are aggravating a bad situation. The simple solution is not who moved to another party or who didn't move. The simple solution is that, I've said it repeatedly, it's not just Mr. President. Mr. President is not a court, and Mr. President belongs to APC. So there's a partisan touch to whatever he has to say, except he has to sit on the throne of integrity and speak to everybody on the basis of the best interest of the nation. I made an allusion the other day to the man called President Yaradua. He would have handled this matter differently, I'm sure. Because, I remember that Oshomole told us clearly, but for Yaradua, he would have been thrown away. He wouldn't have been governor of Edo State. Because the man said, do not interfere. Let the law take its course. We need to get to that point where a president will say, hey, bros, I've given you an appointment, and it's a juicy one. Why don't you just focus on the juice from that appointment? Leave this boy alone. Let's make progress. It's not good for the image of either the party, that is both parties, the individuals involved, and the country at large. The state, of course, is bleeding. And so I think the stakeholders, especially the elders of River State, Mr. President, because he has already waded into the matter, if he stayed aloof, I wouldn't even be calling on him because he has no duty as per direct duty to go and meddle into an affair that is political and is not his own. But since he has already come down from a high horse to meddle, I think he should finish the meddling properly. And the simplest way to do it is to tell his friend to dear, as they say in Yoruba language, take it easy. I mean, we can't continue this drama forever. However, if this doesn't happen, then I suspect that we are getting to the last days of this crisis. It won't last forever. You can trust me, because what is going to... I don't want them to stop again, because, I noticed that they don't want to fight and they don't want to stop fighting. This kind of boxing where the two boxers will be running around in the ring until the people who play together to break that. So I don't want them to keep running around. I've said it much earlier. It's either they fight and finish this fight, or they stop fighting. Because I don't want them to pull back again, so that we wait after some time they start again. Let them finish this mess. They should just go ahead and finish it. I don't like this pretext that we're making peace. Then you go back to strategize and you come back and you're disrupting the peace of Rivers State. 1 year gone, nothing achieved except discussing this House of Assembly, that House of Assembly. The local government people will continue to in office, who have vetoed the governor. It doesn't make sense to me. Something must give. And I think the people of Rivers State should prevail on both sons of Rivers, because both of them are from Rivers. Both of them should have people they respect. Unfortunately, it appears that the big man at Abuja doesn't seem to have respect for anybody, to the extent that the person will tell him what to do. But I hope that he gets to that point where somebody will get through to him and say, let's make peace. I mean, if you really count the cost of war carefully, you appreciate peace. And they count the cost of what they're doing to Rivers State, somebody will pull back and say, let him win. Whatever it takes, let him win. But I don't think they're counting the cost. We should find a way to encourage them to count the cost.
Still on this Rivers issue, some people have talked about the fact that a Wike is somebody who is troublesome in nature. Because if you look at it, you see that he anointed Fubara to be his successor. I mean, we saw what played out before, he handed over and all of that. But we're seeing that every single person, even within the structure of the PDP, we saw what he did to the national chairman. His name is eluding me now. He was someone he suggested to the PDP to take as the national chairman, and that person was the national chairman from Rivers State as well. And before we knew it, he started fighting that person as well. Yes. Secondus. Yes. So we're seeing this behavior of fighting people that you anoint, maybe because they are refusing to give in to whatever your needs or requirements are at that point in time.
They say that in politics they don't have permanent friends or enemies, that they have permanent interests. But I think some people are taking it to a ridiculous level. To the extent that as immediately you don't meet their interest, then he will do everything to take you out. That appears to be the style of our friend here. But then I think why this has been happening for a long time is because PDP is a very weak party, especially of recent, very weak party. They accommodate all sorts. You see, when people do what they want to do without consequences, then this is what you expect. People just do anything anyhow and get away with it. Because to think that he's still a member of PDP as we speak, and then with all of the wahala that he caused, the headache he caused, the pain he caused for PDP, he's still a member, he's still causing more pain, and he's still a member. And, money politics works in Nigeria. So you want to discipline him, then somehow because if you have money in Nigeria, you always have supporters, especially if you know how to share the money. And that appears to be the problem here. But I also hope that somewhere along the line, he will realize that this is a road to nowhere. I mean, this kind of politics is a road to nowhere. Because the person will get to that point where nobody will have the courage to do anything serious with him. The person will get to a point where everybody is afraid of his capacity to make trouble. So I'm appealing to just understand that we are watching, the world is watching. sometimes you don't fight a battle because you can win or because you believe you can win. Sometimes you just sit back and look at the overall interest of the people and say, oh, let's stop it here. I mean, the reputation is becoming very bad. Reputation is important. That is how people perceive you, especially in public space. I don't think it's doing Wike much good at this time. And one of the fastest ways to do damage control is to pull back on this rivers crisis. Just pull back and let this young man after all, you made him governor. So why not just let him be governor? So yes, you are running a very, very lucrative, you are running your own state, actually. In a manner of speaking, state in quotes, in a manner of speaking, one of the most
in the FCT.
In Nigeria. So the FCT, you are in the seat of power. You are hobnobbing with the powers that be. You're having the best of both worlds. You have one leg in PDP and one in APC. You have access to both PDP and APC. What else would a man want in Nigeria?
Still on this issue, like I don't want to overflog it, but something caught my attention, right? I checked the IGR of since Fubara came into office. He talked about a 100% jump in IGR of the state. He talked about the fact that monthly before he became the governor, it was 13 billion that the government, rather the state, was making every month, and now it's increased to 27 billion naira. We also saw the fact that he talked about the fact that some workers who the former governor Nyesom Wike did not conduct promotion exercises for workers in the state throughout his 8 years in office. Now, Mr. Fubara went ahead to increase their wages as well as promote the civil servants in the state. So, could it be a thing of Fubara is updoing or I don't know what to call it now, overdoing him or having a better public image?
Fubara has a job to do. He has a point to prove. Fubara was elected to serve the people of Rivers State, not to serve his political mentors or godfathers. And that's what he's trying to prove. He's trying to demonstrate to them that they should support him to deliver good governance. Of course, he gave them some Naira rain last Christmas, and we took notice. But beyond the Naira rain, he came from a civil service background. He's doing justice to those who probably didn't get justice in terms of promotion and all of that. The IGR of most states is actually in the pocket of the governors. They declare what they want to declare. And Fubara is saying, no, we got more, maybe in those days. But apart from whether we got more or not, we are getting more now. And we are using it to make you happy. I think Fubara is being smart when you talk about issues of making the people happy. If you can make the people happy, that the people you are supposed to lead. When this war gets to a head, they will support you. That's the truth of the matter. That's what happened in Anambra State. When Ngige was in trouble with the same PDP. He was asked to do certain things, he refused to do them. And the PDP was putting pressure on him to settle with his SY political godfather. The same scenario. What Ngige did was to do roads for Anambra people, and they fell in love with him and gave him all kinds of support. So when you are embattled with a godfather, then make the people your godfather. They voted for you. Whether they whatever reason they voted for you, they voted for you. At least even if they didn't vote for you, you are now the boss. Legitimize your position by serving them diligently. If you serve them diligently, the goodwill will return to you. And when the goodwill returns to you, your godfather who's fighting you will be under pressure to get off your back. I think Fubara can even do more. That is, he should use half an eye to focus on his detractors, while he will use 1.5 to focus on serving people. He can serve away this trouble. As in, he can focus on governance so well while keeping an eye on the mess that at some point these guys will just throw in the towel. So I think it's a good strategy. Serve the people. That's why he was elected. He's not supposed to be competing with Wike. That's not the point. The point, I think, is that he's endearing himself to the people. And that is actually the fastest way to take care of whatever political enemies or godfathers you may have.
All right. Final story for the day. Let's talk about the Coastal Highway probe. The reps said that particular project didn't even pass through the National Assembly before going ahead. That's Mr. David Umahi did not pass through that project, didn't pass through the House of Reps before it went ahead to be executed at this point. So right now they are trying to summon different individuals talking about the Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, the AGF, the Minister of Finance, Wale Edu, and his counterpart, David Umahi, to shed more light on the project. But the Minister of Works defended the project, saying it followed due process. It also said that the House of Reps members had pledged support for the project. So you begin to wonder where all these discrepancies are coming from, why we're having lies here and there, who is lying, who is not lying, why exactly the rush is needed at this point.
I think that project is being executed like a personal project. Even personal projects are executed with more caution and more due diligence. There are things the House of Representatives must look into, and I hope other institutions should also look into that project. One is, did it go through public bidding process? If yes, who were the other bidders? When was the bid published? So how did they do the appraisal and all of that? We are not aware that that project was advertised for any reason. Two, what is the source of funding for that project? Nobody has told us where we're going to get all that money from. And why prioritize the project over every other road and project in Nigeria? Three, where is the environmental impact assessment? If you are still doing scoping and yet you say you have environmental impact assessment already done, how did you do it? Are you a magician? For a 700-kilometer road that spans, I think, 9 states, the environmental impact assessment shouldn't take less than a year if you want to do it properly. You have to actually go through that 700 kilometers and check the environmental impact everywhere along the coast line. That has not been done. I can say authoritatively that it wasn't done. Because you can't be doing scoping and then you're also giving us in fact, if you look at the timeline for a proper EIA, it can't happen in this entire Tinubu administration for 700 kilometers. If you want to do the environmental impact assessment properly, it couldn't have been done. And then we need to also ask ourselves another simple question. Did we check the economic impact of that project and compare it to other possibilities? If we deploy that money to fix all the major highways in Nigeria, that will be a brutal, massive leap on infrastructural development. And then who will be passing through the coastal road, actually? How many vehicles?
Exactly.
Will be passing through this famous road? How do we know that the Atlantic Ocean will not wake up one day, get angry and wash away this our 18 trillion or whatever trillion? These are questions that are begging for answers. It's not too late to revisit this madness and put a stop to it.
Isn't it? He's already demolished some businesses already.
The demolition notwithstanding, it's not too late. I know why I'm saying this, because we are just going to eventually waste a fortune that can transform so many sectors in Nigeria. If we deploy that money intelligently, without corruption, with little corruption, it can deal with several sectors at the same time. It can fix all our federal highways. At least we can travel from anywhere to anywhere. That is happily. That is more than enough. And then we can do other sectors. That money can transform education, transform health, and transform highways. How can you take all that money and put on one miserable road? That's a road to nowhere, a road that's just running inside the bush all over the place. Who is going to be on that road? And that road is going to be washed away one way or the other in the not too distant future. You say, I said it. We'll all be there when the road may be just washed. You just wake up one day with all this climate change. The ocean will surge and collect the whole road or sections of the road. And then somebody.
Mr. Larry, please don't be a doomsday prophet. Don't be our doomsday prophet.
I'm not discussing doomsday. I'm telling you what is already happening all over the world. It's happening all over the world. Bridges have been washed. Do you know how many bridges that have been washed away in the past few weeks? Do you know how many dams that are broken? Do you know how many roads that have been washed away? In the past, I didn't say months, weeks. Globally, this is not climate change is a real fact of life, and this has altered everything. And it's a coastal highway. It's not far from the waters. You don't understand what I'm saying. So it's not doomsday. I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm just saying that we are putting our money in a very fragile basket. So even the road, we will not even enjoy it for any reasonable length of time. And the truth is that road is not worth the investment. I don't see why it's such a huge priority. We did East-West Road. If we finish East-West Road properly and finish every other road, it's a more brilliant gift to Nigeria. That's the truth. And they have not even told us how they're going to fund this road. I don't understand why this country is so different from every other country in the world. But the truth is that I hope this is not one of those proofs that some people want to make noise in the House of Representatives so that somebody will come and see them. You know what I mean in Nigerian parlance, see them. No. If they want to tell us what happened, if he said he followed due process, let him come and tell us in public which due process he followed. When did they advertise the project? Who bidded for the project? How did they choose high tech?
How come no one is even aware of the due process
how
that
are
you
they going
followed?
to fund the project? Why is the project so important? That we have places where the roads are impassable and the roads are very strategic. Nobody's talking about them. We're talking about a brand new road to nowhere. What is so important about this road? Who is interested in this road? Because I know Mr. President is not planning to drive on that road. I know that the contractor is not also planning. These are people who travel by air, have their own private jets, literally speaking. And then they have helicopters too to move them to the rural areas. So they don't need the road. So the question I'm asking is, who are they doing the road for? You're doing it for us. We are saying we don't want the road. Use the money for better things. You are saying you must want the road. It doesn't add up. Somebody should ask them why.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Larry, for a very, very hearty conversation this morning. It's been most informative.
Yeah, thanks, my friend, for having me. And I hope that one day they will listen to the voice of the people. But like I've always said, if they don't, one day the people will decide that you must listen to us. And I hope we won't get to that point where the people will assert themselves willy-nilly. So let them listen to the voice of the people, not just to the station, but to our voice everywhere.
All right.
But it will be nice if they start from the station. Do have
All
a
right.
wonderful weekend.
You too. Thank you so much, Mr. Larry.
Yeah, do have a nice weekend. Bye-bye.
You too. All right. Thank you so much for listening to the Front Page Review. We have the Trading Post coming up next, and then we'll have the Sports Bit at 8:30. Make sure that you keep it locked right here. My name is Gesiere, and I'll be back at 9 a.m. for the news around Abuja, business around town, and then we've got what's trending right after that. So trust me, it's going to be a packed Friday morning, so you want to stick around for that conversation. Good morning.